This vinyl cutter here is the uscutter mk2. So this is just about the cheapest vinyl cutter you can get online. We've been using it for a few years and it sure seems to work great. So I'm going to show you what the process is to cut a shape. So here in Inkscape, this is a vector graphic software we use to draw graphics. Here's a graphic we got for just a gift. We're going to be cutting this out on plain black vinyl. So we went ahead and copied the file here and pasted it into the software. Now that we have this pasted in here, placed where we want, we can go up here to the corner to the, it looks like the cutter knife, and you can see where it's going to lay out and where it's going to cut, and that looks good. So we can go ahead and tell it to cut now. And right now I actually have the blade raised on the machine. We're just going to do an air cut to make sure everything is where it should be. And how you can do that is just loosen up this knob and pull up the knife and tighten it back up. I'm going to go ahead and hit cut. Proceed with cutting. Yes. You can see it's going to start doing its thing. And just keep an eye on this pass to make sure it doesn't do anything wrong. The air pass is complete, and we made sure that it's cutting right where we want it and it's not getting in the way. And this here is the blade. Right there, that little piece of metal, super hard to see. It's only sticking out about the thickness of a piece of paper. That's the blade. And the reason why it's only sticking out such a small amount is because you only want it to cut through the vinyl and not the backing paper. So if you take two pieces of paper and you make a cut on it, it should only cut through the first layer and not to the second. So we can go ahead and put this back in and let it seat right up to that shoulder that's right there. So just drop it in, make sure it's right where you want it, and tighten it down. So now we have this right where we want it. We have the origin set right there. You can set it just by clicking that button and it'll go down just like that. And now we can go ahead and do our second cut. So we'll go ahead and click cut button and hit cut now. And just keep an eye on this cut where it's actually going to be cutting, and just make sure nothing goes wrong. Here's the cut all finished, and you can faintly see the lines of where it cut. Looks like it did a great job. So we're going to go ahead and lift up things back there. And here's the cut. Looks very nice. So we have this cut out on the vinyl cutter, and we have this piece of acrylic all cut out. I'm going to go ahead and peel just off the outside portion of this because that'll just be getting in the way. So this should just come off really easy. We don't need any application tape for this. Just peel this off. It's not really useful for anything. Now we can go ahead and weed off the negative, and we're actually going to keep this because it's also pretty cool and we can use this for other things. So we're going to do our best to keep this in good shape as we pull this off. So this should come off fairly easy. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to keep the negative here, but I'm going to do my best. The machine cut it very nicely, but it's just such an intricate shape, it's going to be hard to try to keep it. As you can see, the negative that we pulled off was a little bit too intricate and hard to reassemble back on the paper, so we're probably just going to throw it away like you normally do. For application tape, there's a couple things you can do. Here we have some blue painter's tape that we stretched out in lines and taped it all together. Or you can use the expensive stuff that's actually made for applying vinyl, but this sure is a lot cheaper. Or you can use a clear contact paper and tack it off, get it a little bit less sticky. And application tape is actually very reusable. As you can tell, we've used this piece before. So I'm going to go ahead and take the application tape and lay it right on here. And then once you have it on there, take the squeegee and just stick it to the vinyl, just like this, and then we'll peel it off and put it on the acrylic. Normally the paper comes off pretty easy, but something they used to sell was a rubber cement thinner. They used to call it Bestine. You can't buy it anymore, but if you put it on the paper and then let it dry, it would come right off. We can go ahead and peel off this application tape. It'll come off fairly easy, and everything should stick to it, just like that. And now we're going to go ahead and put it on the acrylic, and this is the tricky part to get it aligned, but just do the best you can. Some people try to mathematically figure out how to get this centered, but just what I do is I just take a pencil and mark some of the edges and just do it by eye to try to get the best that I can, and that usually works. And now that you have everything laid out, we can take the squeegee and just seat everything onto the acrylic piece, just like that, and stick it to the acrylic. Now that that's all squeegeed down, you can go ahead and try peeling off the tape. You want to try to peel the tape off at an angle like this, not like this, because it's going to be harder for the vinyl to come around and stick to it like that. You might be wondering what those little pieces there are. Those are just leftover stuff that we forgot to take off of the application tape before we apply the other thing, but those will come off super easily. And just if something is sticking that you don't want it to, just lay it back down and then maybe use an X-Acto knife to keep it there or something like that. Or maybe even your fingernail. Here, you can just try to take them out with the squeegee or with your finger and just try to take them out carefully. We really like how this little piece here turned out, and the machine sure does a great job, especially for the price. I mean, you could get a Roland or you could buy a bunch of these, but it sure works great for us. So I hope you guys found this video useful. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.